which gets up to the highest level, where you have the most energy in the turbine. And I saw it, they showed me how it works. Oh, I really, I've been totally...
But if you want to have a drone with big things on it,
kite. Like, you know, like a kite in the wind.
I mean, if you have a
Because it was...
okay, let's start. It's time.
yeah.
This time is that time.
This time is different, as we heard. And tomorrow I hope that this meeting, I mean, we have to talk after, because have their mics.
I'm not sure.
Beautiful Luxembourg. Over the past few years, member states have invested heavily in renewable energy, and we all have seen that it's paying off. EU's economy has grown since 1990, but thanks to renewable energy and energy efficiency policies, greenhouse gas emissions have fallen. But if we want to minimize our CO2 emissions by 2050, and it means 80 to 95% less than in 1990, national efforts alone will not be enough. EU member states must invest in sustainability together, and by generating more energy from the sun, from wind and from water in a way that ensures affordability and reliability, we can reach our goal. The North Sea is a huge potential source of wind power, especially when it comes to wind farms further out to sea. It's windier there and there's more room for turbines, and they could meet the energy needs of several, if not all, North Sea countries, and all of them together we are with 10. But at the same time, building wind farms in the North Sea isn't easy. The costs are high and the setting requires innovative approaches to building and maintenance. And what's more, the North Sea is an area rich in nature under the sea level. Together we are exploring ways to responsibly exploit the potential of the North Sea in years to come and to reduce the costs of offshore wind power. A lot of good work has already been done, especially through the North Seas countries' Offshore Grid Initiative and the Intergovernmental Offshore Wind Forum. The partnership we are cementing today will breathe new life into the cooperation on North Sea wind power anymore. North Sea countries will be looking at how and where offshore wind farms could be built in the near future, because we have all kinds of plans, each of the countries, but together we can do it in a much better way. Stakeholders will be involved at an early stage: nature and environmental organizations, the ship owners, the fishing industry, the system operators and the energy companies, of course. With our political declaration, we are creating a long-term outlook for those looking to invest in wind power. When it comes to investing in the development, building and operation of wind farms, companies need certainty. And that's why we are also exploring possible agreements on tendering and grants, on farm location and on laying cables to connect farms to existing power grids. And we are coordinating the various national requirements that wind sector players have to meet, for example in terms of safety, in terms of nature and the environment. And by working together more closely to build, to finance and to manage wind turbines and infrastructure, we can reduce the cost of wind power, of offshore wind power. In the long term, North Sea cooperation can lead to more cross-border electricity connections and more market integration. And this means that a shortage of solar or wind power in one country could be countered by a surplus of renewable energy from another country. Regional cooperation is a stepping stone to a single EU electricity market. I think that is essential for achieving our energy and climate goals. We can't do without a single EU energy electricity market. I'm delighted that we are formalizing our partnership today during our Netherlands presidency of the EU Council, and I'd like to thank the participating countries and the European Commission and the European Parliament for making this declaration happen. And I'd like to thank all partners, and especially our high-level group co-chairs, Belgium and Denmark. Thank you very much. Now I first give the floor to Commissioner Miguel Cañete, and then to Vice President Maros Šefčovič. I think that you not came back specially for this meeting, but it was important enough for you to come back from the United States and be here and also give us your remarks. But first the floor is to Miguel Cañete. Miguel.
Thank you, President, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here today to sign this political declaration on energy cooperation between the North Sea countries, and I want to thank the Presidency for making it a priority. The cooperation that we are committing to gives new impetus to the offshore energy potential of the Northern Seas and is a priority of the Energy Union. Just like Europe's energy system, the North Sea is undergoing a transition. Traditionally, the focus in this region has been mainly on gas and oil exploration, but now the moment has come to focus also on electricity, and we can be ambitious because the North Sea has all the potential in the world. The region is, of course, a natural home for offshore wind production and can be a hub for wave and tidal energy. That's why I believe the Northern Seas can become a flagship project for the Energy Union. In addition, the North Sea countries have an important potential for better and optimized interconnections, allowing for more trade and market integration. The good news is that thanks to new technologies, we are now able to develop offshore electricity generation and to link markets with subsea cables. But regional cooperation will be absolutely essential to unlock all this potential. It's very simple. If we work together, we create more jobs and growth for the entire region than if we develop our own part of the sea. And that is especially true in a growing market in which European companies are some of the best in the world. The stakes are high. The success of this cooperation model for offshore energy can be an example for other parts of the European Union and the world. And that's why the Commission actively supports this project and will be the driver in substance. Of course, we will build on the valuable work that has already been done, for instance, in the framework of the North Sea countries offshore grid initiative. It's now time to take the cooperation a step forward. The high-level group that we are establishing today will ensure a continuous political commitment, while the working groups will address the legal, regulatory, technical and financial challenges. To support that, we will also need to get governments, industry and finance fully on board. And together, we will collectively pave the way towards an offshore system that will benefit the region as a whole. That means making offshore wind price competitive, attracting new investors, and reconciling the interests of the different users of the sea. I am delighted that the political will is now there, and I look forward to seeing you all at the first high-level meeting to make good progress. Thank you.
The second representative of the Commission is Vice President Maros Šefčovič, and the floor is to Maros.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Henk, distinguished ministers, dear Miguel. Before we started today's meetings, we've been just discussing with Henk where we discussed this project for the first time, and we discovered it was already 2 years ago in Astana. I know how much we've been discussing this project with Marie-Christine, together with our meeting in the Luxembourg House for the first time, so I'm very glad that I could be here today and really see that we are now proceeding with this very important declaration on energy cooperation between the North Seas countries to the fruition and to the signature. Because I'm absolutely convinced that it's an important step in the right direction. And Henk was referring to my recent trip to the States, so I can tell you that the whole week Clean Energy Ministerial or Research and Innovation debate under the umbrella or Mission Innovation or Breakthrough Coalition was very much about better use of renewables. It was very much about the wind power. It was very much about the smart grids, which could really allow us to increase the efficiency of our markets. So I believe that we are doing the right step here. You all remember that in the 50s, the pioneering vision was about pooling energy sources of Europe. At that time, it was about the coal, but the 20th century clearly would be about pulling together our renewable energy sources. And I think if we look again in the very near past, we can still remember that we saw the North Sea more as an infrastructure barrier. And today, and thanks to this declaration, it would signify our joint recognition that the North Sea is in fact a huge renewable energy source. It has fairly shallow waters and windy weather, surrounded by some of the Union's largest economies and energy consumption centers. We are currently talking mainly about the offshore wind generation, but in the longer term, I see the potential also in ocean energy, such as wave and tide. And as technology develop, I believe that we will also be able to use the North Sea as a potential carbon storage as well. Just like the UK-Norway connection, North Sea cooperation can provide secure, locally produced energy, lower prices. It can create highly competitive and high-quality jobs, and it can position Europe's industry as a leader in the global market. I also believe that intensified cooperation will allow us to optimize the use of generation and transmission capacity and facilitate at the same time trade across the region. It will help us to achieve vast cost reduction, as Henk was referring to. It will help us to facilitate planning for investors and ensure smart financing, which ultimately can have a positive impact on electricity prices. Therefore, I really would like to thank the Dutch presidency for making the North Sea cooperation a priority, because as you know, the Commission has also highlighted this initiative in the first State of the Energy Union already in October of the last year, and I am also very happy that we can count on the support from the European Parliament. Therefore, I'd like to conclude by saying that exploiting the renewable energy potential of the North Sea by all countries in the region would be a perfect example of how European spirit of regional cooperation can enhance our energy security, help create an integrated European energy system, and decarbonize our economy through the innovation. So thank you very much for the initiative, and we'll do our utmost from the Commission to be helpful, to promote and to help the preparation of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maros. I hope it will be possible to have a meeting this year also with regards to the carbon storage on the North Sea. I agree with you that that's important for the clean future too. Marie-Christine, the North Sea is not only important for Germany and for the United Kingdom and for the Netherlands and for France and for Ireland, for Norway, but also for Luxembourg and for Belgium. So I would like you to take the floor and give your remarks. The floor is to Marie-Christine.
Thank you, Henk. Dear commissioners, dear colleagues. After more than 5 years of North Sea cooperation, the mission of that cooperation remains unchanged. The common goal of moving to a sustainable low-carbon economy with a crucial role of North Sea energy potential. It is time to move to a more pragmatic step-by-step, bottom-up approach with strong political commitment at national level. Therefore, we need a concrete and realistic work programme at regional level that is flexible and with concepts for joint offshore wind investment projects for the benefit of all North Sea countries. After the NSCOGI conference of October last year, I indicated some focal points on which we have to work in order to bring the North Sea cooperation to a next step, namely prepare a political statement for June 2016, to be agreed upon by the ministers, support the creation of a high-level North Sea group, finalize the implementation of NSCOGI work plan through existing structures, including the new issues for the work plan suggested during the NSCOGI conference of 23 October 2015, and establish and support the operation of North Sea users stakeholders platform with all the users of North Sea. I am thus very glad we can sign this political declaration today that contains these focal points and builds on the important work that has been performed by NSCOGI for the deployment of offshore wind capacity and on the rollout of an offshore electricity grid in the North Seas. In order not to lose the momentum, I have asked my administration to organize, together with the Dutch colleagues and the Benelux Secretariat, a first coordinators committee before the summer break so that they can already start working on the work program and see how stakeholders can be closely involved. Together, we can bring this initiative further. Sorry for my accent.
Thank you very much, Marie-Christine. You said North Seas, and you were right. It's not North Sea, it's North Seas. And that's also the reason that Ireland participates and that our colleague Dennis Norton is here. Is there one of my colleagues who want to have the floor? Dennis, if you want to.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I welcome the political declaration on energy cooperation between the North Seas countries. A signature of the declaration underlies the strong commitment of all participating countries to participate in the regional voluntary process in a practical response to the call for political leadership on the development of regional cooperation in the North Seas area. The North Seas area offers a very significant potential for offshore wind generation and in the future wave and tidal generation. Strengthened cooperation as envisaged in the declaration has the potential to accelerate the cost-effective exploitation of the offshore resource, incentivise investment and boost research and development. Finally, I welcome and support the proposal that the Commission will take an active role in this process.
Thank you, President, and thank you very much for the Presidency for this timely initiative and for the excellent work together with the countries involved in the preparation of this declaration. With this declaration, we send an important signal and create a new momentum for the North Sea cooperation, for which we see great potential. I would like to stress 2 points today. One is that we attach particular importance to a pragmatic and step-by-step approach that integrates existing initiatives and develops them further. The second point we particularly welcome is the extension of the North Sea cooperation to the area of renewable energies support. We look very much forward to cooperating with all of you and to a promising cooperation in the North Sea. Thank you.
En dessous. C'est facile.
Final touch.
And the winner is...
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And thanks for all the questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
How are you doing?
Oh, somebody.
Hey. No. Anyway, I just wanted to congratulate. That's what we ordered.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.